The Negro Justice League.
Hi, welcome to the Negro Justice League, a Black Nerd podcast, episode 60. I'm your host, Cherry.
It's your boy, Jay.
It's J2.
And today we have our guest, Jacob Grovey, back. Jacob, say what's up.
What's going on, everybody?
It's great to have you back. This is what, your third episode now?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, you're a regular now. All right, hopping into the news before we get to 3% and Atlanta Season 2. 3% Season 2, Atlanta Season 2. News first. As we've told you on the past few episodes, NJL is streaming and teaming on the Twitch. So we're doing what? God of War right now?
Twitch.
Huh? Yeah, we twitching. So we kind of know what we doing now, so it got a little better. We struggled for a little bit. So Chi-Chi's on there doing the Binding of Isaac. If you if you are a religious person, you might struggle with this one.
It's rough.
But it's good. You gotta watch it a couple times, it gets good. Everybody else is doing God of War. We got Chesterfield is the main one. Chesterfield, aka Delano, he is the main one doing God of War with Mike, aka Mike is Fired. Both of them have been on the show. Check them out. They're really good. Are they almost done? Does anybody know when this game ends?
Hell no. It's not even close.
I thought they were at the end.
It's a long way to go.
Oh. So yeah, if you like God of War, check that out. If you miss it, if you don't have a Twitch, we do, you can still click on the link and watch it on Twitch. You don't have to have an account to look. But we do export to YouTube eventually. Within about 2 weeks, anything we do on Twitch should be on the YouTube. But if you want to participate, there's a chat box. You can talk to us while we're playing. We'll talk back. Usually a lot of the NJL shows up in the chat while we're streaming and stuff. It's a great time. So go to twitch.tv/blacknerdcastcast. Twitch.tv/blacknerdcast and get your notifications, tell you when we're online. All right, I don't know if I ever brought this up on here, but a lot of you are aware. A lot of you brought it up to me. I did bring it up on the show before. There's a Spotify SoundUp Bootcamp, and what Spotify did was they said they wanted more diversity in the podcasting arena. So they did a thing where they were going to pick 10 women of color / LGBT / any type of marginalized. I think all women. Pick 10 of y'all, take you to New York, train you how to do a podcast, and then have you compete for $10,000 to get your show on and popping. We applied because like 20 of y'all told me to apply. We definitely did not get picked. They said they had, in the rejection letter that arrived in my email box today, they said they had 18,000 applications. So our little application got lost in the 18,000 and we got denied. So thanks, y'all. But
I want to specifically think it's because we're just too good already.
Yeah, we already popping.
I want that new.
I'm with that.
Yeah, we already got it rolling. So we're going to continue to work on a budget of $0 until further notice. And if you want to support the Negro Justice League, we have a shop at negrojusticeleague.com. You can buy some stuff and, we get a couple dollars to keep this show on the road. Thank you. Anyway, Michael Bakari Jordan is on the cover of Essence right now looking good. That's all I got to say about that, really. I don't really have any further opinion. My mom probably sent me that in the mail. Thanks, Mom, in advance. Danai Guerrera is on the company of Ebony looking gorgeous. She looks so pretty. She just looks so adorable and cute and pretty and strong and bald-headed, and it's just great. She's killing it right now. So Michael B. Jordan's on the cover of Essence and Danai's on the cover of Ebony, and both of them look amazing. Check those out. J2, take it from here.
All right, so I don't know. I guess it's my thing to just bring bad news on the show. So let's go ahead and get started with that. For some reason, they've decided to revive Thundercats, and normally there would be good news, but the animation style looks like trash, like absolute trash. It kind of looks like the Wonderful World of Gumball, or whatever the name of that is.
The Amazing World of Gumball, which is an excellent show.
Which is a good show,
which is a
great
show.
Yeah, slow your roll.
They're doing that animation style for Thundercats, and it's supposed to be action comedy. And I know people are like, okay, well, Teen Titans Go turned out okay. Yeah, whatever. I don't want to see Thundercats.
No.
Like that.
It looks like Clarence.
It's so bad. Like when I first saw it, and I found out about it on the NJL group me. But I saw it, I thought, somebody just did the Amazing World of Gumball and fused it with Thundercats. But then I found out later on it's a show and I'm pissed off. So we're gonna move on. Obi Wan is getting a movie. That movie has been all but confirmed. No news on who's gonna be young Obi Wan, but it's set between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope.
This is dumb. Obi-Wan, I like Obi-Wan, but he's not a character I want to watch a whole movie of.
Well, here's what I'm wondering. If this is that rumored Seven Samurai kind of spin-off that they were doing with Jedi, like they tying all that together, or if it's just a straight-up Obi-Wan movie. And it's a movie that I also agree is not really necessary, but
Obi-Wan
this
is not dope enough for a full movie by himself.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I agree completely. But yeah, we're getting one, so I guess what we say don't matter, unfortunately. But yeah, he's getting the movie. And speaking of Star Wars spinoffs that we kind of don't necessarily need, Donald Glover will be reprising his role as Lando in a Lando spinoff. And
that's just ridiculous.
Like,
Lando from the Bondo. Hey.
And it's like, it's kind of like when we talked about the DC movies and like why is Cyborg getting a movie? Like why are these characters getting movies? Solo is a movie that we didn't necessarily ask for, but it kind of makes sense
right?
A little bit because he's an interesting character.
He's a boss.
Yeah, but Lando and Obi-Wan getting movies, like I don't know, man. Let's move
on. To be fair, I think Lando is much more a better suggestion for an individual because he's supposed to have this amazing backstory that I'm willing to see, especially
and we
after
need some Negroes. To be honest with you, I need to see some colored folks in the universe, galaxy, whatever. Yeah, they better. I promise you, he better not be the only black person in this movie. His girlfriend, he got to have some women because he was a pimp in the 70s. They better be black women. He better have some black people, homies, friends, his mama, whoever. Yeah, I want to see some more Negroes.
I can't wait far away. Because I know it's not going to happen. I know it's going to make you mad.
I know it's not going to happen.
It's awesome. All right, and so in DC news, Batwoman is going to show up in the next Arrowverse crossover. It was announced when the different networks are making their decisions on the shows that they should keep and cut, and some kind of way Arrow survived for another season, and now they're going to put Batwoman in it, which is weird. And I know she's not like directly tied into Batman, but she kind of is, and it kind of goes with that. The whole my issue with Gotham, you're giving all of these villains and stuff without having Batman on the small screen, and now you're going to put Batwoman in the Arrowverse without having Batman on the small screen. Like how long?
But they're inventing Gotham, right? She has to be from Gotham, and maybe they're opening the door for something. Especially since the show Gotham is discontinued, there's going to be a vacuum for.
I hope so. And they've made a passing mention of Batman on Legends of Tomorrow a couple times, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, I think that Batman on the small screen would serve better at this point than putting him on the big screen. To me, I mean, of course you have the money with it, but I mean those movies aren't really making all that much money anyway, so you may as well. But we'll keep a lookout on it.
Yeah, since the Batman movies are going down the drain right now.
Oh my God, everything is going down the drain in their universe. They need to burn it down and start it over again. So, NJL has a blog. I've written quite a few pieces on there. I do Hot Take Hotel, in which we talk about sports and just whatever comes to mind to write about. Currently, I have a piece up talking about just being a black geek and dating, and it comes on the heels of people criticizing Donald Glover for being in an interracial relationship, and then they're saying the reason he's in an interracial relationship is because he's a geek and black women don't like geeks, which is trash. But anyway, go check it out. Jay has a couple pieces on there about his time in Japan, as well as a dope piece about This Is America that you guys need to check out. So yeah, show us some love on NJL. Well, no, it's not NJL.com. NegroJusticeLeague.com.
Get it right.
Full government. Full government. Yeah, so speaking of giving respect, Infinity War, it's been out 3 weeks now, and at this point, it's already reached $1.75 billion.
Billion.
And for some reason, billion. But they're actually worried that they may not be able to reach $2 billion in record time because of Deadpool 2 and Solo, which is really ridiculous when you think about it, because basically Marvel just had 2 movies go through 1.5 billion, basically back to back. So I don't think Marvel, aka Disney, is really that concerned about this extra 300 million that might make them 2 billion in record time. Like, they printing money right now.
Gabrielle Union got that movie out where they messing with her kids, so that's gonna mess everybody's numbers up.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Because that's the movie we were waiting on.
Yeah, listen, real talk, I was about to have that almost be for the next episode, but I was just like, I don't even want to act like I'm gonna watch
I'm about to go see it tomorrow. Not because I want to see it, but because Regal Cinemas has a deal where if you see 4 specific movies, they will give you a digital copy of those movies. And I don't care about this, but one of them is the next Purge movie, and you know my boy Daniel is in there, and he fine. And then the next Halloween movie, and that's Halloween. So I want those. So I'm gonna see all these movies so I can get the digital copies for free.
Yeah, the Purge is gonna be dope. I can't wait to see that. That looks like it's actually gonna be amazing.
And Daniel,
so yeah,
sacrifice.
Did we talk about that? Did I talk about that on the news?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Daniel.
Quick question.
So,
do we think that they're going to hit 2 billion?
Yeah. It's just we don't know if they're going to hit it in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I just was wondering because I still have a problem with Avatar being the #1 movie ever hitting that 2 billion because they cheated. Like, it was a good movie. But then they did the whole re-release thing, like towards the end of the summer, and then that's how they got it.
Not only was it that, they did the first like real 3D, almost immersive thing, and everybody wanted to experience that. Everybody. It's kind of like Gone with the Wind, you know. Yeah, Gone with the Wind has all this money because they played it for like 10 years straight. It was the only movie in the theaters. So,
what you going to see? Gone with the Wind.
Oh, what you saw yesterday? Gone with the Wind. But no, real talk. Like, apparently that was when ACs were created. Movie theaters were the first places to have it, so everybody would go to the movies just to stay out of the heat.
So you know some things going on in that movie theater that was not Gone with the Wind. It's the only place with air conditioning. Yeah. You already know what time it is.
It was either Gone with the Wind or Birth of America. So that was it. That's all they had.
Oh my God,
yeah.
Birth of America. Yeah. Ain't nobody got time for ain't neither one of them movies really something that I want to see. But yeah.
Oh, we weren't seeing no movies.
Yeah, we was sitting up in the balcony. You know it's lit up there.
Oh man.
Lit. Don't let one piece of popcorn fall from the balcony. It's on.
Speaking about Negroes and our places. So if you've been on anything Instagram or online, you will realize this week it's been another white woman worried about Negro News Week. So over last weekend, there was a gentleman of obviously Black persuasion who was grilling. I believe this was around California, Oakland area. Mm-hmm. And around most lakes, you know, there's like a barbecue area, no barbecue area. This guy's been barbecuing in this same area for years, apparently. And unfortunately, a well-concerned white woman decided to speak her truth and ask this gentleman to move because he was doing illegal stuff, which he wasn't. And she proceeded to call the police. And if it wasn't for, and this is why I don't want to say white woman, she was a colonizer, because another white woman actually came and videotaped pretty much the whole situation of her calling the police, trying to like being really aggressive with this dude and everything. And then when the police came, she pulled the Euro step of white women moves, which is she cried on demand, it's amazing how quickly these tears came. And the police didn't have anything happen. The dude was able to barbecue. But what made it great is not only did she get memed, and we've been trashing her for a week. She's been in all the memes. I've seen one where she's trying to stop Rosa Parks from getting on the bus.
Yeah.
But the city of Oakland, like, I don't know if all the black people just sent out a Facebook. They decided to have a huge cookout block party right exactly where she was trying to stop. And I love it. I absolutely love it. But it's also like, I don't know what's up. Is it summertime? So is it like when the summer comes out, there's sundresses and then white women go crazy? Like, why are they being so concerned? Because there was the whole situation with the Airbnb and a white woman saying she wasn't said hello to, so she called the police. Do y'all know that news, or am I just tripping?
Yeah. It was a girl this time, wasn't it? A black girl, and she was staying in an Airbnb and walking in there, and she didn't speak to the neighbors or something, and the neighbors decided to call the police.
I think it's Bob Marley's granddaughter or something like that.
Yes, yeah, she was, something like that.
Yeah. It's one of those things. Like, okay, right down to the lawyer who's been talking reckless about people who speak Spanish or whatever. He's all gung ho, he's all high and mighty and all this kind of stuff. And then when the cameras came to speak with him, he's hiding behind an umbrella, running around and stuff. I'm like, you can't have it both ways. You can't antagonize people, and then you want to go cry wolf, and then you can't handle the roast that comes after. It's trash.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move along because that lasted a little longer than it should have.
Twice.
Who? What nobody even talking to you? What you cussing for?
No, when he was talking about the white people making phone calls and all that kind of like,
started cussing.
Twice. That's why I keep stopping myself.
All right, let's move on. We're talking about 3% in Atlanta. We're gonna talk about 3% right now, and we're gonna talk about Atlanta. We're supposed to hit Atlanta at the 25. However, we spent quite a while on the news today, so I want to say 30. That cool with you, Jay? We're gonna hit Atlanta at the 30. We can
hit it at the 25. We ain't got much to talk about 3%.
All right, we're gonna hit it at the 25 then. Yeah. All right. 3% season 2. We reviewed. I should have told y'all what episode we reviewed season 1 on, but I don't even know. Like, go to negrojusticeLeague.com, hit episodes, and then there's a search feature. You can search to find season 1, 3%. It's a Brazilian show by Netflix. Is it by? I have a trouble with the overseas Netflix series, because in America, if Netflix puts their name on something, they made it. But there's been a couple times I've seen an overseas movie and it says it's from Netflix, but then when you Google it, it really came out in the country like 3 years ago, and Netflix slapped their name on it. So
yeah, it's Netflix is slapping their name on it.
Yeah. Okay, so it says it comes up as a Netflix series, and it says it's a Netflix series, but yeah, I didn't think it was. It's Brazilian. They speak Portuguese, as we said in the last episode. I recommend watching it with the dub, as I said before, because the dub is so bad that it adds an extra element of flavor to the show. Like, you really begin to appreciate the terrible acting. Not that the actual acting is much better. It's just a good experience. I like it. I like the dub. JD, you watch the dub or the sub?
So I watched the dub because the sub, man, it's good, but it be really messing me up because every now and then they'll say something in Portuguese that sounds Spanish to me, and I'll be like, what? But the dub is just, they're acting, but it's still bad acting. Like, at least they have some feeling in it, but it's still very bad.
And the voices don't always match the actors either.
At all. In fact, once I started the dub, I had to stop doing the sub because their voices are so different.
And then, like, I swear some of the same actors doing some of the extras. Because I'll be like, wait a minute, I heard you over there. How you delivering the mail when you're supposed to be the main character? Like, stuff like that. All right, let's talk about this episode. Michelle was a character. She started off as the main character in season 1, and then they kind of branched away from her. And in this season, she's still important, but she's not the main in the way that she was the main in the first couple episodes. That being said, I still hate her. She's still whack. I can't put my finger on exactly why, but I hate every scene she's in.
My God.
I don't even have good reasoning behind it. It's not that she's wishy-washy. She's very determined, but she's annoying.
I think it's because characters like her, you like characters like her who are kind of women who are in charge and those are characters you generally like or identify with. But she is also, like you said, wishy-washy, which is what you don't like. Like, I think if she was just full on, like, this is how I am continuously, you would like her a lot more.
Speaking of which, Joanna. Joanna is one of my favorite characters. The black girl with the fro. Because she is the same person from episode 1, season 1, until episode 10, season 2. I'm assuming, and I ain't even watched that much. She's a boss. She has some changes in her philosophy because of her life experiences, and that's acceptable. But there is no change in how much of a G she is every single episode. But she does have character growth because she begins to become more of a team player. More, she gets into the cause, and there's that initial scene where she's supposed to be catching turtles, and she's a selfish person, but then she grows and becomes a team player and stuff and whatever. She's cool, but she's definitely one of my favorite characters. Jay, do you like her?
Yeah, I do. I think last time we discussed 3%, you said she was her favorite. I said she was not my favorite. I think actually Raphael is, and he still kind of is. But I do like the growth she got in this season. Because last season, she was so much about just herself. It was too much for me. But this season, especially by the end of the series, season 2, she's definitely had a lot of growth to she cares more. Yeah. And with that, she's a much more stronger character.
And that's a result of her living on the street alone, her selfishness. And they talk about that and explore that. And she learns to kind of give that up. Raphael is the character I always refer to as Harry Potter. Like, I don't even know his name on the show. I had to look it up because he looks like Daniel Radcliffe a little bit. He gets himself a black woman, which I was like, okay. But she, spoiler, you should have watched it. And she cute too. She cute.
She real cute.
She a doctor or a nurse or something. She's some type of healthcare
professional. About that still.
Yeah. And he seemed like the type. He seemed like the type of a white boy to get himself a sister. I know them, and he's one of them. Right. That being said, he's an odd character because he's started out as the most trash character there is, and he kind of through nuances and it ends up being one of the best or one of the most morally sound. After you get to know him and the other characters kind of devolve into their, like Michelle, just devolve into madness. I know that's your favorite character. Is he still your favorite character in this season?
Yeah, especially because of the nuances. So spoilers, obviously. You find out in season 1 how he's basically been on the good guys team the whole time, and everything he's doing is because he's trying to make sure him being part of the cause is finally able to take down this really horrible system. So now in season 2 he's accomplished the most important part of his mission, and now he's trying to take it in from the inside. And I really liked how they showed what he's actually feeling about all this, especially with his girlfriend. He's seeing himself being able to have this life where he could just be happy and enjoy this very good woman and, live life. But he's also still trying to hold on to his moral integrity of why did I come here? And it's a nice little struggle he goes through, especially in the dub version. He be panicking.
His voice in the dub don't bother me as much as some other characters. Yeah. And he did his girlfriend dirty. But
to be fair, I didn't expect her to last as long as she has, because I could have sworn. Oh yeah,
that maybe she should have, but whatever. I thought that would have been a stronger case for his wanting to be a part of the cause if she had died. But whatever. Fernando, my least favorite character from season 1, continuing to be my least favorite character in this season. Although I dislike him less than I disliked him in the first season. He is whiny and he does stupid stuff after girls that don't really like him as much as he liked them. And I can't take it. Like, he makes extremely stupid life decisions that can get him killed based on these girls. And I can't take it. That also...
And everybody calls him the smart one.
Where? And he, his life sucks. Like, his end of season 1 was really bad. I thought it was hilarious, but it was supposed to be really sad, the way he leaves the process. We get here, I didn't even recognize him at first because he was so dirty and crawling around on the ground. And then, like, he wants to be in the cause don't want him. He's trying to overthrow his daddy ain't having it. This girl that he loves is like, forget you and everything you stand for. I'm going to join the cause. Even though I found out you telling the truth, I'm still going to join the cause. Then they get to the story of why he's in the wheelchair, and I was done.
Wait a minute.
Done.
That was the most drawn out, emotionally supposed to be drama story ever.
Yeah, watch that.
Him finding out.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
But he didn't find that out because he said he knew.
Right.
So why are you still friends with her?
After finding out about his female lifelong friend, I was like, he has a type. He be trying to save women, even though he ain't got no legs to catch him.
Caucasian women.
Like,
he trying to save these white girls, and he's a brother in a wheelchair, and it's these white girls that don't care nothing about him, and they worried about the process or the cause or whatever they worried about, and not him, and he always get left to the side looking stupid, and it's tired.
But you know who saves him? The strong black woman.
That's life, ain't it? Oh, one character moment that I loved. The crazy dude. Remember the crazy dude from season 1? That was in the process because his whole family had completed the process, and he got in it, and then he lost his damn mind. And we thought he died, and he comes back in this season. When they, what I'm talking about, Jay? When they pan down and show his legs, I hollered.
What about my legs?
I was done. Like, dude, this show is hard to take serious because it's so corny. So when they show things that are supposed to be really tragic, like when like Fernando's scene with his how to get in a wheelchair scene, I laughed during that because the kid was like it was just the kid just.
Also, the kid looked like your son.
He did.
Y'all are heartless.
Yeah.
You know what's really funny about that character Marco with the no legs is he gets in fights, and I'm like, how you be winning fights, bro? If y'all don't Cobra Kai his feet,
he got no legs.
Ain't no.
I wasn't gonna tell y'all he had no legs.
Either leg. It's not like he has one leg and then a peg leg. He got 2 peg legs. How you losing fights?
And a crushed pelvis. Oh man! All right, so 3% season 2. What you gonna give it? A through F? It's hard, man, because it's bad, but it's good though.
The reason season 1 was better was because of the process, the games, and you don't see that so much in this one. So I watched it, but I wasn't as involved. So I'm gonna give it a C+.
I agree with you.
Because
go ahead.
Yeah, because it didn't have the puzzles, and they kind of tried to add it in this season, but it really wasn't the same.
Yeah, I have the same problem as you. I forgot to bring that up, is the fact that what made season 1 so good was the process. Nobody really cared what was going on in the inland. We really liked to see the process, what's going to happen next type deal. And this season, there's no... I thought that we were going to plan to take over the process for like 3 episodes and then eventually see this work out. We really don't. I don't know if we see it at the very end because I didn't make it that far, but I've made it through 75% of the episode of the season, and I haven't seen the process yet, and that's unfortunate. It's kind of like Hunger Games. The first Hunger Games is great. You set it up, right, and it's awesome. But then after the character completes the process or the Hunger Games, what do you do for the next year? Because you want to have a sequel, but the character's completed everything that you set up. So what do? Hunger Games ran it back, which I thought was hilarious. What's this? 3% doesn't quite do that. They stick with the same characters outside of the process, which I think maybe if they just got new characters inside the process would have made a little more sense. But I think that they should have followed some new characters in a new process while having the old characters as a side plot that at the end it all comes together on the last. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that would have made it much more sense. And they even set it up like it was gonna be like that with Fernando's homegirl, and they made it seem like they would do the new process, and that would be working in the background. Yeah. But I guess when you have actors and actresses who became famous off the first season, you can't drop them back to like secondary roles. But
that's what we should have seen the new girl and her new people going through the process at the same time Fernando and them are sabotaging it. Like that would have been good. All right, so we did hit the 30. I am going to give it a C, a regular C. I wouldn't watch as much of it as I did if I hadn't had to do it for the show. Once I got to episode 4 and realized we weren't going to see the process, I was like, I started playing on my phone a little bit. But then I kept going, and around episode 6 and 7, it started to pick up again. I'll probably finish it, maybe, might, a little bit. We'll see. All right, Atlanta, season 2. There's so much to unpack with this show. We really struggled the past few months trying not to talk about the latest episode of Atlanta every time we do the show. So now I know it's glad for us. I mean, we're glad to get to do it now. Only problem being some of those first episodes were a couple months ago, so now we got to reach down deep for that discussion. Everybody here saw Atlanta, so we're gonna have a little better, more involved discussion. It starts with Alligator Man. That's our opener to the show. To me, this was the strongest episode of the season. I say that with a little reservation, but there are other great episodes, but this one was great from beginning to end with 3 different storylines going. Two or three. We open up with the robbery, which I think we discussed is I'll just say, ordering a number 17 at a chicken joint is not that far-fetched. not that far-fetched. And then it goes left. And there's a really strong emotional ending to that scene. Then there's some little bit of traveling, a little bit of backstory in the middle. And then we get to the uncle's house, who we find out is Cat Williams. And seeing Cat Williams in, first off, we don't get to see him in TV. We usually see him in movies and in stand-up. So seeing him in TV was a surprise. But did y'all know beforehand that he was going to be in that episode?
No.
I didn't either. Like, he just opened the door and we're like, oh, it's Cat Williams.
Right.
And which I loved. I loved that he wasn't in the previews. How did y'all feel about Cat Williams in this episode?
He was brilliant. Like, it was, of course, we have a love and not quite sure how to feel relationship with Cat Williams as the comedian or whatever, but I love that he was in the episode. I loved his performance in the episode. I don't know if it'll register anything for him when award season comes around, because they do those little guest spot awards, but I thought he was really good. And then his acting, he was outlandish starting out, but then when it gets to his point and everything hits home, he played that part very well as well. So, yeah, I thought he was great.
I agree with you. We really see him in, like, Friday and stuff, acting a complete fool, which doesn't require too much talent. We get here, and he actually does a really good job of driving home the point of, like, who his character is, why he lives the way he does, while still being funny. This is actually some good acting from Cat Williams.
Cat Williams was so good in this. I really wanted to see him in more episodes. I almost expected to see him more in this season and kind of being like maybe Ern's really weird Obi Wan Kenobi. But we didn't get to see it. And this was such a strong first episode. Every other episode after I kind of compared to, because this was just so crazy and funny and real at the same time. And I just wanted to see more of Cat. But we didn't. But yeah.
Honestly, the quality of this episode is that of a finale. Like, it was, to me, it was definitely better than the finale to me. It was just good. It was very good. And it stands alone. You don't necessarily, it ties back to season 1, but you don't necessarily have to see season 1 to enjoy it or to appreciate it. I was really impressed by that. Okay. Second episode. Well, okay, we're not going to talk about every single episode. There's quite a few. Go ahead,
One
J2.
more thing. Did anybody bring up the actual reveal of the whole point behind his name?
Alligator Man.
Like, I was waiting, and I was like, they're not going to pay it off with an actual alligator, are they? And then when it happens,
I felt like he really got an alligator in there, but I didn't think we'd get to see it. I didn't think that the alligator would be on camera. And the fact that they actually had an alligator slow motion walk out the front of the house for me was great.
It was perfect. And that whole episode, it's my second favorite episode. We'll get to my favorite, but yeah, it was dope. It was a great way to start the season.
Yeah. All right. We're not going to talk about every single episode. We're going to skip in order, but we'll skip a few because some of them just ain't that much to talk about. There's another episode, Helen. It is when Ern and what's the girl name? Van.
Yeah.
Ern and Van go to apparently she's part German, so they go to like a German festival with they're about the only black people there, and everybody speaking German, and Al's completely, not Al, Ern, with these one-syllable names. Ern is completely out of place, and she's like, very comfortable. And he, I think it touches J2 on your article about dating a nerd. You want to kind of tie that in, or what that relationship issues?
Yeah, in this situation, Van would have been the quote-unquote nerd. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, she would have been the quote-unquote nerd, and Ern is the guy that's like, okay, I'm not really feeling this. I'm not even willing to give this a chance. Y'all a bunch of squares or whatever the case may be. And my article touches on that in the way that, like, real quick, I didn't realize that people still kind of got teased and picked at for being into Elder Scrolls and Marvel and DC and all that kind of stuff. And considering that Ern is a black man and he's not really like this standard black guy, you would think that, hey, he'd be kind of open to doing stuff with his girl or whatever the case may be. But that's not the case. And this episode really touched on being a jerk because you're not feeling what somebody else is doing. I mean, more importantly, your significant other. Yeah. And it was a very well done episode, and the message was very well conveyed.
But the way it's written, they were both kind of trash. Like the story is told in a way that you can see both sides of the relationship. Me being who I am and dating who I date, I've definitely been Van. I've been Van probably more often than not, and it is extraordinarily frustrating to like somebody and them think that everything that you like is stupid. So that's like a real strain on a relationship. And so I feel her, but at the same time, the way she was handling herself, it was like both of y'all just whack.
And I think that's a fundamental issue with their character, but go ahead.
Jay?
I was actually going to say, I think there's a difference between what Cherry likes and might be considered weird as a geek aspect, and what she was trying to take Ern to, which was this German, clearly white, low-key, high-key
and they weren't even speaking English.
Right. Like, part of the thing was people dressing up with blackface. Like, I would be uncomfortable with that, too. I would not want to do that, even if you are my significant other. Could I probably explain that better than Ern does? Yeah. But, I can clearly see why Ern is totally uncomfortable in that situation. And Van should have known her dude would be uncomfortable in a situation like that. Like, as a black man, that was weird. That was really, really uncomfortable. Just to watch. To be there? Oh, no. We would have had a fight.
Yeah. All right,
All
right, next episode we're going to talk about is Barbershop. Everybody loved this episode, not because it's particularly entertaining. It's really not. But because it's so excruciatingly relatable. Jacob, I know you're as a man who probably gets haircuts at some point. Did you find this episode relatable, or did you enjoy it at all?
I enjoyed it because I know people that are like that. So there are tons of barbers who will try to get you to go out on their journeys before you get your cut. So yeah, I completely relate to that.
Yeah,
one of my favorite episodes.
Mine too. And I don't go to barbershop, but the ladies that do my hair do the same thing. You show up at one time, show up when they tell you to show up. They don't touch you for 3 hours. They talking to somebody. It's kids running around. They gotta go do something. Their sister came. They on the phone. All of that. And then he's doing shady stuff. He asked, what he asked, do he like Zaxby's? And then he went to a house and pulled a house under construction and pulled some Zaxby's out the microwave leftover. The whole episode is crazy, but it shows the bigger picture is Al's kind of journey trying to accept that he's famous, but he don't have his stuff together, and really feeling that he ain't got it together, and it's a downward spiral for Al, and this is kind of where the spiral starts to spin.
And then the part that really hits is the end with that, because you get the reveal as to why he kind of puts up with it. When Al is like, okay, enough of this, I'm not going to you anymore. He gets to the next barber, and the next barber doesn't know what to do. And that is it. The whole episode perfectly encapsulates the Black experience with hairdressers and barbers.
Yeah.
Like, it's a true love-hate experience. You're like, okay, I'm not going to them no more. They BSing too much. But then they're the only person that can get your perfect look.
Yeah.
And so, the ending was hilarious to me.
Man, I went to go get my eyebrows done a couple weeks ago. This lady left me in the room for 20 minutes and forgot I was in there. So I left. But then I came back the next day because she's the only one to get them right. So it's like, what do you do? Teddy,
like a domestic violence relationship.
Yeah, I know. I can't leave. She keep calling me back. She don't do me right, but I keep coming back. She love me though. Teddy Perkins is probably this is the biggest deal episode. It was an hour and a half long. The episodes we talked about before, they were concentrating on, they did a one character at a time kind of vignette type style. This one was the one that focused on Darius. It's the first episode that's to focus on Darius, played by Lakeith Stanfield. So we were really excited because everybody loves Darius as a character. And this was an hour long, 45 minutes long with no commercials.
Yeah, I think it was 45.
Yeah. Usually it's a 30-minute show with commercials. This one had either no or limited commercials. No commercials, like 45 minutes long. It was a lot of TV. That being said, it was odd from beginning to end. Was bizarre, and I failed to see the tie-in with the rest of the season. Other than it was bizarre. Jay, you want to explain this episode a little bit?
Or at least try.
You want me to explain Teddy Perkins aspect of it?
Just 2 seconds. What was this? What happened? What do we see?
Basically, what you saw was there is trying to simply buy a piano and ending up meeting Michael Jackson and Michael Jackson's brother, and realizing vitiligo and daddy issues, robbed of childhood, causes people to kill people.
Yeah, and we didn't talk about this, but the theme of this season was robbing season, and so every episode there's a theme of someone being robbed of something. We start out with a literal robbery, but then we talk about Teddy being robbed of his childhood, Paperboy being robbed of his time in the barbershop. There's each episode somebody's robbed of somebody. People robbed of dignity, people robbed of actual money, some of self-respect. Like every episode, someone is taking something from someone else because it's robbing season. And then the theme is going. How did y'all feel about this? Jacob, how did you feel about this episode? It was completely out of line with everything else, but it also wasn't bad. So what was your response to it?
So with the whole season, I like the fact that, they all tie in. We all know the characters from season 1. But if a person has never seen Atlanta, then they can watch season 2, I think, and still be entertained by each one. The whole Teddy Perkins thing, I liked it as a standalone. That one is my favorite overall. I like the issues that it dealt with. It even dealt with how we as Black people will talk about other Black people because of their skin tone. And that you saw that, of course, with Teddy Perkins, but also when they were talking about Sammy Sosa, people of color. So, I mean, that kind of issue was cool too. So, yeah.
My issue with Darius in general throughout the season, he was my favorite character in season 1, but in this season, I feel like they took him a little too far. Like, he's supposed to be eccentric, he's supposed to be odd, but in this season, they made him borderline, like, special. Like, there's some moments where it's like, come on, like where he put his foot in spaghetti. I don't know what episode that was, but he said he was putting his foot in some spaghetti, and he literally why would you do like nobody does that. And even if you're that eccentric, like that's stupid. It was too much.
I think it's not just, I don't think it's about, because sometimes you have that happen, like the eccentric character becomes too eccentric, the Steve Urkel situation. But I honestly think for this season, Donald is trying to do something that's very surreal, Twin Peakish. Yeah. And some of the stuff you see isn't really happening to the audience. Like when he says, I'm about to put my foot into this food, it's just like, it's not really Darius doing that. It's the show showing Darius doing that for the whole. That's why some people didn't like The Woods, for that same type of situation. What is really real for the viewer of the show?
I ain't got time for that. So yeah, I didn't like it. Stop messing with Darius.
As far as Teddy Perkins, it's also my favorite episode. And the main reason it works not only is because it's different in that it shows more of a psychological horror element to it, but the fact that Darius, the weirdest person on the show, was put in a very weird and uncomfortable situation.
And he was the most normal person in the room. It was crazy.
It like when we first heard that it was going to be a Darius focused episode, our expectation was, it's going to be crazy, but I don't think anybody anticipated that somebody else would be the craziest part of the episode. And Donald Glover was fantastic as Teddy Perkins as well.
Right. And the only thing he really did that was weird was go pick a piano up from somebody's house when he don't play the piano. That was odd, but the rest of it, it was almost like Donald Glover's trying to try his hand at a Get Out type situation. Is really what it felt like. Yeah. All right, moving on. Champagne Poppy, briefly, Van and her girls get together, which is very authentic feeling. The whole playing on the phone with a group of girls, we about to go to the club, then we pull up and we in an empty parking lot in a van somewhere. Where's the party at? Y'all, this is set up. All of that feels very, as a group of girls that we go through that felt authentic. They show up at a house looking for Drake. I feel like they're a little old to be living what they live in, because this is something that happens when you're about 18, 19, not necessarily however old they're supposed to be, but whatever.
You sure?
I mean, I outgrew this. I don't know what y'all did. Well, the girls y'all deal with, but whatever. They pull up at a house party looking for Drake, blah, blah, blah. Most of the episode's boring. There's a good part where her, Van has a dark-skinned friend. And I say that because that's a trope, not because that's what I really call her, the dark-skinned friend. But she's loud and angry. And if this is done on purpose, kind of like what Jay was talking about, like she's playing a caricature of there, and there's a few moments where you see black people really acting like stereotypes instead of black people, but it's for a purpose, and not because Donald Glover really thinks this is how black women are. She sits down on the couch and sees that some famous black dude she likes has a blonde hair, blue-eyed white girlfriend. The white girlfriend's sitting there, and she goes slap off on the white girl for stealing black men. Becky with the good hair, like it was. And before she even opens her mouth, she's giving her the death stare.
Yes,
the death, and you already know what it is. The white girl's scared to death because she's looking at her crazy, and she went slap off. Honestly, I stopped the episode and I ran that speech back 3 times, and a lot of people took exception to it, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Not that I agree with it, but she wasn't wrong either. So it was one of the things like, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have said that, and it's problematic what you said, but I feel you though.
Yeah.
And I know y'all are dudes, so how did y'all kind of handle it?
After watching This Is America and then finding out Donald Glover has a white girlfriend who he has kids with, I think I was like, oh, this is straight up Donald's relationship. Because at the end of all of that, what does the black dude say? He doesn't defend his girlfriend. He doesn't go at the sister who was just cussing out. He does this low key. My bad. I understand. It just keeps it moving.
I didn't even think about
And
that.
then J2 talking about, love is love in the blog. So I agree. Like the girl said, I've been with him since before he was famous, before anybody liked him. I supported him. I just love him. He's a good man and I'm a good woman. But you're allowed to be that way because you're a white woman in this world context.
I love that. I don't have time to wait for nobody to get famous. I don't have that luxury.
Yeah,
like, that was a really good point.
Yeah,
and it was another one of those balanced conversations where it's like neither one of them is wrong, but neither one of them is right. It just is what it is. We have a few of those moments in the season. All right, there's a Woods episode. Is Paperboy's like vision quest type journey through the woods with this man who is and is not, and this is after he gets jumped and almost shot. This was an excruciating episode to watch. Like, it just gets worse and worse and worse, and it's painful, and you feel really bad for him. And I want to say that Al might have been my favorite character this season. If Darius was my favorite in the first, I think Al was my favorite for this one, because his character story is sad. Like, he just goes further and further and further down until we'll talk about the finale at the end. How did y'all enjoy this episode? Jacob, how'd you feel about it?
I mean, I like the whole quest aspect, but like you were saying, you learn a whole lot more about why Al is the way that he is. And it was good that they went this route in the season, because, season 1, you would have your opinion of how Paperboy is, but then season 2, throughout these little journeys he goes through, you learn a whole lot more about his character. So yes, completely different. But this particular episode, I just thought it was okay. I mean, it was cool for what it was. It did what it was supposed to. Not really something I go back and check for again, though.
All right, we gotta move on. I wasn't gonna talk about the FUBU episode, but I realized that, like y'all said, it's more relevant than. I don't like that episode, but it's relevant. FUBU is a flashback to Al and Ern's childhood. It shows them in like middle school, or high school. Mm-hmm. There's some bigger kids, middle school, high school, something like that. Teenagers. Basically, Ern buys a fake shirt from a thrift store. He doesn't realize it's fake, because when you're a kid, you just see something at the store, you think it's real because it's at the store. Gets to school, another kid has the real version of the fake shirt. So everybody's at school like, who's got the fake shirt? And apparently whoever has the fake shirt is gonna get jumped. Like, I was with him up until this point. I've been in this type of situation or similar, where people are questioning the authenticity of what you got on. But it was never that I was gonna get hurt. It was just, you gonna get clowned, and then life goes on. It was. No. Apparently with this one, he was. I don't know where y'all from, but he was gonna get his butt whooped.
It was just getting roasted where I'm from. Yeah.
It was more than that where I was from too.
Yeah. Really? People got stuff. Yeah.
For having fake stuff.
Yeah. Why you trying to flaws on fake? Yeah. You gotta catch your shit.
You should know that.
But that's it. And you just could have never wore it again. But wasn't nobody gonna hurt you.
If it was fake, you were getting jumped for wearing fake stuff. If it was real, you was getting jumped because someone was about to take it.
Right.
So
what?
I'm from the suburbs. We didn't have all that.
Yeah.
Really?
But I remember one of my first fights ever getting into was a homeboy getting up onto me because my mom used to buy me like brand new Timbs every few months. And, in South Florida, Miami, Timbs weren't rocking like that, but he wanted them. And I had to be like, yo, you're going to have to try to like beat me up tomorrow because I got to get home. My mom was going to whoop my butt if I'm late. But I remember that. That was like him, his homeboys. They caught my bike. They wouldn't let me leave. It was a whole situation.
Wow.
I'm also a girl, and I'm also 5'10". So
they wanted you to catch rebounds.
So you were kind of the apex predator.
And but I mean, there was plenty of people that wanted to fight me, but it wasn't never because of the brands on my clothes. That was never something.
You were at the top of the food chain.
No,
like, even though you weren't a bully, people knew what was up, and they didn't want to test it straight.
No, girls messed with me relentlessly, but they didn't put their hands on me. It was all
I know
verbal.
the one story you told me though. That was
Huh? Yeah. Anyway, I told y'all about that one chick that did.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Even then, I had to handle that. She didn't. I did that. All right. Anyway, sorry, that'll be in the notes, y'all. You want to hear about that fight? The point of that was it shows a relationship between Al and Ern. We know that they're cousins, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything because I have cousins. Like shout out to Alexia. She's in California. Like we cousins, but that don't mean we grew up in the same house, right? But I have cousins. Like shout out to Jessica, y'all. She ain't been on the show. We grew up under the same roof. So cousin is a very broad word. So when we knew they're cousins, I didn't think they were as close as they were. I didn't think that meant they grew up in the same schools until we see the flashback of Al basically protecting Ern from getting jumped by lying and saying that his clothes was fake. Real. His clothes was real and the other kid's clothes was fake. And so Ern sits there and watches the kid with the real clothes get jumped, knowing that boy's clothes were real and that his were fake because he wanted to save his own behind. So that carries over into the finale, where basically they're packing up, getting ready to leave. Where are they going?
They're going to Europe.
I thought so.
They're
When
going on
was
Clark
that
County
ever?
tour.
That's what I thought. But when was that ever like a thing?
Well, that's
Literally
that's
episode.
something that they did in season 1 too. They would have these events that were never mentioned in prior episodes that were about to happen. So
I thought I was lost. Like, why are y'all packing up and leaving for Europe? And who said we was going to Europe? Apparently they're going to Europe. But nothing happens until the very end. The gun that Cat Williams, this is so complicated. The cop showed up at Cat Williams' house. Cat Williams gives a gold pistol to Ern. Ern puts it in his bag and walks out the house past the cops with the gun because the cops are looking for Cat Williams. And so they don't find the gun, so it's in the bag. In the first episode. In the finale, the gun is still in the bag. Paperboy's like, yo, we're getting on a plane, you can't have this. Ern was like, I'm gonna deal with it. In Ern fashion, he does not deal with it. They get to the airport and he's like, oh, you in TSA line and you realize you got a gun. When you're in that line, right, you can't turn around. And maybe as you get to a certain point, you can't.
Because that's why Joel Santana about to get locked up.
Yeah, so you can't. After you get to a certain point, you can't turn around, and there's no explanation for having a gun. There's no acceptable. You're going to jail.
Right. That's it.
You just can't do that. So he sees a gun in his bag. He takes a gun and places it in the other artist's bag, and gets on the plane. And so when they're leaving, he's like, yo, walk faster. Like, let's go. Paperboy looks back, knows what it is, and is like, just walks with him. They get on the plane and there's this moment, and there's this threat throughout the whole season of Paperboy firing Ern, because Ern is trash at his job. Horrible. But he sits there and Paperboy, in this true man-to-man moment, they're sitting with a seat in between them facing forward. And Paperboy explains, look, I'm going to keep you around because I saw what you did. Your family, you care about me. And that's it. And it's just like, yeah, I saw you do that. We cool. Like, it was a very man moment. Like, 3 sentences. We all right. I love you, but I ain't going to say that. Let's go do what we going to do.
And I just noticed that scene mirrors the scene in the prior episode. Mm-hmm. They both end the same way with them sitting down, looking straight, mm-hmm, except the role is reversed. Yeah. And the episode where they were younger, it was Paperboy that saved Ern, and then in this situation, it was just flipped around because that could have been the whole situation. They would have been. Yeah,
it wouldn't have just been Ern. They all it would have been. Yeah. So apparently the other dude gets arrested though.
So quick question about the end when you find out that Ern put it in Clark County's bag, but his manager took the fall. The way that Paperboy looks at Ern, or the look on his face at the end, did he saw Ern switch the gun? Mm-hmm. I mean, or whose bag he put it in, or whatever. So is it that he's worried about Clark County's retaliation coming up, or it looks like he had a look of worry on his face. I just wondered what you guys thought about that.
But I didn't. What you're saying is interesting. If he put it in Clark County's bag, Clark County's manager took the fall, then really, Ern should have just taken the fall for what was in his own bag. It wasn't even taking it for Paperboy. Like, because Clark County's manager did what managers do.
Yeah.
But
so
Ern
it's like
didn't.
Paperboy is like, yeah, I see what you did. I appreciate that, and we good. But then you see Clark County's manager go above and beyond, really, and he just took the ball. Yeah.
Because when you're famous like that and you have people around you and y'all get caught with something y'all not supposed to have, somebody who's not famous takes the fall because the person who's famous is making the money and paid to get you out of jail. Like, that's...
I'm thinking a totally different way. I'm thinking after seeing Clark County and how he dealt with the producer in the studio, I don't think he gave dude a choice. I think he very much said,
oh, you're right.
You take it.
I forgot about that whole scene.
Yeah.
That scene was hilarious, by the way.
Oh, it was.
Well, I think Clark County definitely realized what happened, and I think Ern realizes now he has someone he has to worry about, because Clark County will definitely do something.
Yeah. You're right. I think Jay got it right.
And that's kind of something and I'm glad he brought that up. That is something that was kind of in the background the whole time. Like, they didn't too much care for Clark County or whatever, but they took him as, seriously as a threat. And so I hope he comes back to season 3 in that case.
Yeah. That scene with him and the producer was actually hilarious. I forgot all about that. He was talking to that boy every type of way. And he said, I'm never going to put my hands on you, but I'm not the only one that got hands. That was my favorite line of the whole season. Like, because at first you're like, okay, because you think he's going to beat the dude down. And he comes back real cool, like, yo, I'm not going to put my hands on you, but I'm not the only one in here with hands. I was like, dang. Like, I'm not going to beat you, but one of them. Yeah. And then he walks out the room real calm. Yeah. All right, we'll wrap it up. On a scale of A through F, we're going to start with J2.
It's A. Solid A.
J.
Solid A.
Jacob?
Yeah, it's A.
I'm going to give it A minus. I like giving it an A minus because it had some rough patches. Like, I understand what y'all was doing, but there's some spots in there that was like, ooh, a struggle. And like I said,
they had some LeBron spots.
Right.
Yeah.
They had some LeBron's hairline spots. And I really, like I said, I understand what Jay said about how they did Darius, but everybody out here named Jay. I understand why they did what they did with Darius, but I don't like it. That being said, Lakeith Stanfield gained a couple pounds, and his beard was on and popping. So yeah, he was my favorite character.
Wait, his beard was on and popping? Is that a correlation?
No, but they're like,
You know what? I do make that correlation in the blog post with the relationships and stuff. It's like big dudes with beards, they got in.
Well, he ain't big. He's still
he's
scrawny. That man is scrawny. He was on Instagram dancing with no shirt on 2 days ago. He ain't. That man, 150
pounds.
Snoop
Dogg scrawny?
He was Snoop Dogg. Did you see Straight Outta Compton?
I know. That's why I brought it up. Are they still doing that movie with him?
I don't know. But anyway, he's a little thicker. Not swole, but he got a little more on him. He's a matured, looks a little older, and he has a hairline beard combo that is right where I need it. So I was appreciating that. All right. Jacob Grovey here. You're a writer. You do writing. Talk to us a little bit about what you got going on, where we can find you, all that jazz.
All right. So all projects and anything about me can be found at jacobgrovey.com. And I have a few books out now, 2 poetry books, a novel and a children's book, and a new book, multiple books coming out this summer.
Whew. That's a lot of writing, man. Y'all know I don't write. I got 2 blog posts. That's it.
Jerry said she was going to do blogs, and she did one about some random dude from Game of Thrones, and she said that's it.
And I did one about chicken.
Chicken.
I gotta write when I'm inspired.
Men and chicken.
Yeah.
That's what gets Cherry to write.
Is what gets me inspired to do anything. All All right. As you can continue to get a free month of Stitcher Premium at Stitcher.com/premium. Use the promo code Justice, all caps, JUSTICE. Follow us on Twitter at Black Nerd Cast. Subscribe to us in iTunes, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play Music. Like us on Facebook at Facebook.com/Negro Justice League. Check out NegroJusticeLeague.com. Rate and review us on iTunes. Get on Twitch.tv/BlackNerdCast. All that jazz. Anywhere you can find us, get on there and find us because it's on and it's popping. Next episode, we're going to have a special guest, Sherry Bryant. She's going to be here talking to us. We got a whole nother author talking about a whole nother book. And we're going to be talking about Deadpool 2 because that'll be out and we're going to see it and it better be good. So that is all for this episode. I am Cherry and this was the Negro Justice League.